So I have a very important thing to tell you this morning. And some of you in the room may have heard these words before, but I can tell by looking around that some of you have never heard them before. So here goes. Are you ready? You are pregnant. Let that sink in for a second. If you have heard these words before, you can remember that feeling inside yourself at that moment. But if you've never heard them, I want you to imagine what it might feel like to get that announcement. You are pregnant. Basically what that little blue line or the words from the doctor or whatever, however you get the announcement, is saying is that your life is about to change. And I can declare that you are pregnant because each and every one of us has been impregnated with a holy idea for our lives. Something new, something exciting, something different, something will change and carry us forward into the future. And sometimes that is referred to as a calling. A calling. So you may have the holy idea of a new job or a new place to live or a new way of showing up in the world, a new relationship or a new relationship with your physical health. It doesn't matter what your idea is, but if you are alive, and I think you all are, then you have one. You have one. You are pregnant. So let's explore that a little bit. So when a woman is pregnant, she is called expecting. She's said to be expecting, right? So what is she expecting? Well, obviously, she's expecting two things. A baby, for one, but she's also expecting a new version of herself, a new chapter in her life, so to speak. She knows that everything is going to change. And if this is her first baby, things are going to change drastically. But even if it's her fourth baby, things are still going to change for her. So you are expecting a new thing, yes, this new job, this new relationship, this new whatever, but you're also expecting a new you. So the psychologist Eric Fromm said this: man's main task in life is to give birth to himself, to become what he potentially is. The most important product of his effort is his own personality. So if the woman was wanting to get pregnant, she's probably welcoming this birth of a new self. And if she was surprised to get pregnant, she may be absolutely resistant to the idea of her life changing, right? You know, getting the news that you're going to be a parent, mother, father, whatever, that just means that life's going to be different, and sometimes we resist that and sometimes we're excited about it. So perhaps my news for you this morning that you are pregnant is a happy announcement, right? Or perhaps my news for you has brought up some other emotions. But the truth is you are pregnant with your future self, whether you like it or not. So using pregnancy as an analogy, let's continue to look at this idea that you are pregnant with a new you. So based on the typical human gestation period, you will absolutely not be the same person you are 9 months from now. Can we all agree on that? 9 months from now, let's say next March the 6th, you're not going to be the you that's sitting here today. Many, many things about your life are going to change naturally in the next 9 months. You will be different. So since you're pregnant, I want to share some tips with you about readying yourself for the birth of your new self, because as we know, we all know, there is nothing a newly pregnant woman gets more than advice, right? You get a lot of advice, right? And not just the ladies. If you're their fathers, if you tell somebody you're about to have a baby, there's a lot of advice flooding at you as well, right? So everyone has some advice, and so do I. So here is my advice. Now that you know you're pregnant, that you're expecting, it's time to start acting as if your life is going to change. I remember the day that I found out that I was pregnant with my daughter. I knew that I had approximately 9 months to get ready for my life to change in this way. So how could I spend those 9 months the best way I could? So I did what I think most typical parents do. Number one, and this is my first advice for you, I prepared my physical space, okay? So when you're about to welcome a new creation in your life, you've got to prepare your space for it, right? I think they call it nesting, right? And so new parents have the greatest joy in preparing the nursery. You know, they pick out the colors, maybe a theme or something. They go to the markets and the shops and they try to find the little things that are just going to be perfect. Cozy little tiny things that are going to make the space ready for this new thing. But because she's also expecting a new life for herself, she begins to prepare the space for the new role that she's going to assume. You know, where's the rocking chair where she's going to nurse? Or where is the table where I'm going to change the diapers or do all the different things that I'm going to do? Whatever will make the new parents be equipped for their new role, that they've got to prepare the space for that. So have you prepared your space for the new idea that you have for yourself? Have you moved around your personal belongings to make room for that new thing or that new person or whatever? The expected parents know if they're going to be ready, they have to prepare the space in advance before the baby ever gets here, right? It's part of the creative process. So farmers prepare their silos for the grain that is going to come in, right? Romantics clear out a drawer or hack their closet or whatever for the new love that they want to draw into their life. Smart job seekers, what do? They prepare their interview outfit before they ever even get a call for an interview. Artists, what do? They go out and they get that canvas or whatever their medium is that they're going to create with and for, they get that in advance. If abundance is what you desire to create, do you have the structures in place to handle the financial flow that you are drawing to yourself? So my first piece of advice is prepare everything you can on the physical level of life to make room for this new thing and this new you that is going to become. And number 2, deepen your knowledge to prepare your heart and your mind. It's sort of like I'm handing you a copy of what to expect when you're expecting, right? And you're going to pour over it. I want you to think about the big change you desire and start getting your heart and mind ready by learning as much as you can about the thing that you want to come your way. Figure out who you will have to be in order to have a successful experience in this new chapter in your life. Read books about the things that you desire, books about your new chosen occupation, or books about love and relationships, or books about health and wellness, or books about financial intelligence, whatever it is. And if books aren't your thing, then watch videos or podcasts or join a support group of people looking for the same thing that you want to create, or perhaps find someone who's already created what you want to create. Like a mother will go look for another mother that can share her wisdom. Find someone who's already done what you want and see if you can have a mentor, have them coach you to have this new thing. In other words, find yourself a midwife to help you prepare yourself emotionally and mentally for it. Have you ever watched a pregnant woman from a distance, like she doesn't know you're watching her? What will her hands do? Her hands will keep returning to her stomach, her abdomen, her belly, if you will, because that thing that she's creating is moving constantly and it's always on her mind because it's reminding herself that it's there. Her thoughts kind of drift constantly back to this thing that she's creating. And sometimes those thoughts are fearful thoughts. And sometimes they're just positive, overflowing, excitement, joyful thoughts. If she's smart, she will have many tools and people around her to keep those thoughts positive and healthy. So whatever it takes, this reading, listening, talking, or whatever, surround yourself with the things and the people that keep your thoughts about your new creation positive and be in anticipation. So prepare your physical space, bolster your heart and your mind. And then my third piece of advice is this: celebrate where you are now before it's too late. Have you ever heard of a baby moon? A baby moon is that special vacation trip that new parents take before they have the baby, so that they can have one last hoorah of being non-parents adults, right? They know their life's about to change in a big way, so they want one final time when they can celebrate their life as it is now before they embark on this new adventure. I think baby showers are kind of similar, right? Because you have this party with all your friends and all the presents, and it's all exciting, and then when the baby comes, all those people are gone, right? They go away before the sleepless nights begin, right? They want to hand them the baby. But anyway, the question is, how can you celebrate your life right now before the idea that you're expecting comes into form? So if you're anticipating switching jobs, how can you celebrate the coworkers you love right now? Or how do you really enjoy the task that you have to do again before you move on? Or if you're wanting to move to another city, how can you really enjoy some of those touristy things that you haven't really gotten around to see before you leave the area? If you're looking for a new relationship, what things do you need to enjoy as a single person before you consider someone else's preferences all the time, right? Back in the early 2000s when I was single and desiring a new relationship, my practitioner encouraged me to fully appreciate my final days of being single before I manifested a partner. He said if I embody the faith that I will be partnered soon, then I should identify anything I needed to get done before I found her. And after that session with him, I purposely traveled with my daughter. I purposely spent mother-daughter time because I knew that was going to be different once I had a partner. And it was. So, we study the creative process around here a lot. We talk about preparing the soil of our minds and planting the seeds of the ideas we want to harvest. And we're watering them in faith, right? We know that we aren't supposed to dig them up and make sure they're growing. We know that we're not supposed to do that. And to instead trust the process and the timing to God, right? But we don't talk a lot about what you are supposed to do after you've planted the seed. So my final advice for you is about what you are supposed to do as you wait for the birth. And that is, act as if. Know that the change is coming and prepare for it. That's what all of my advice is about today, to prepare your physical space and your heart and your mind and growing in readiness and to celebrate where you are right now. And then it is time to wait. Wait in expectancy, because you see, the final part you can't really control, the birth itself. I remember when I was pregnant, I pored over the book A Child is Born. Are you familiar with that book? This book called A Child is Born. And the final chapters in the book describe the birth in great detail with photographs. I was fascinated and horrified at the same time. Because the vast majority of American women giving birth have never witnessed another birth before the one they are about to experience in their own body. And the same is true for new fathers. So how do you prepare for something like that, right? Well, you make a birth plan and you educate yourself. But as you probably know, every birthing experience is unique. And if you don't believe me, just find any mother or father in the room and ask them about when they had their first baby, and you're going to find every story is very different and very interesting. That's because you can't really prepare for something. You can't prepare for something that is so unique as a birth. Because midwives and these OBGYN doctors and nurses, what do they tell you? Honey, you make a plan. Go ahead and make a plan, but you got to trust your body and know that we're going to handle whatever comes up as it comes up. We love that you have a plan, but that's really just a wish, right? So I have the same things to say to you, because the same is true for the creative process of anything. Think about it. Every person who has started a new job has a unique story about how they found that job, how that job came to be. Sometimes the job just lands easily out of the blue, and sometimes you search for long periods of time to find the right thing. Every single love story represented in this room is different and unique. Sometimes that person just drops in, and sometimes you look for a long, long time. Some people switch to a healthy lifestyle and that they're transformed almost effortlessly, and other people struggle with that for their whole lives, right? It's just unique. Some people attract financial prosperity pretty easily, and other people just can't seem to figure that part out. It's difficult and it's mysterious. Some farmers grow crops beautifully and easily, and other farmers really struggle for months to get a harvest to market. It's all unique and different. As with birthing a baby, birthing anything will happen when the conditions are right. Birth always happens when it's supposed to happen. And here's the truth that no one really wants to hear. Sometimes birth is difficult. Sometimes things don't go as planned. Sometimes labor lasts a long, long time and it's exhausting. Sometimes the right people aren't in the room when you want them there. Sometimes birth happens in an unexpected place, completely unprepared, and difficult circumstances. And the truth about birth is that it is always painful. The pain is unavoidable. Sometimes you can medicate and numb it, but it's always there. And an expectant mother knows this and quite frankly dreads that part. I think it's because they read this quote from Carol Burnett. She says, "Giving birth is like taking your lower lip and forcing it over your head." You laugh, but for many of us, the idea of birthing something new in our lives and knowing it's going to require some pain is enough to keep us stuck right where we are, clinging to whatever we've already birthed. Nothing new for me, thank you very much. I'll just hover right here, right? Our theme this month is our soul's call. And we talk about birth because our souls are always calling forth for us to grow and birth something new. Our souls call for us to do work that benefits the world. But we've got to first listen to the call and do the work that creates a life that empowers us with love and joy and hope and abundance and purpose. Our souls call for us to wake up to a higher awareness and make better choices. Our souls understand that change and pain is involved, but it still calls, doesn't it? Our fear of change or our fear of pain, if it stops us from growing, we've got to look at that. We got to look at that. What would happen? How free could we be if we didn't deny or avoid pain, but rather embraced it as an invitation to greater love and greater faith? I love Brene Brown. In the book that we just finished last month, Braving the Wilderness, she wrote this: "Pain is a vulnerable emotion. It takes real courage to allow ourselves to feel pain. When we're suffering, many of us are better at causing pain than feeling it. We spread hurt rather than let it inside." Birthing a new version of ourselves can be painful. We have to let go of who we used to be. And sometimes that involves releasing people and places and things that don't fit our new lifestyle, our new belief system, or our new choices. None of that is easy. Birth is not easy. Moving into a greater life requires us to allow ourselves to feel pain. And as Brene said, that takes vulnerability and allowing ourselves to feel it without causing pain to other people. So I want to talk a little bit more about pain and our relationship to it. Pain during birth is always a call to remember what you're birthing. I remember the nurse saying to me, "Just one more hour, your baby's going to be in your arms. Just keep with it, stick with it." You know, pain's always a message that change is required. Think about that for a second. Pain is a message that change is required or change is coming. Let pain be a signal of that for you. If you're going to evolve into a greater version of ourselves, there's going to be some pain. Mary Anton, she's an American author, she said, "We are not born all at once, but by bits. The body first and the spirit later, and the birth and the growth of the spirit in those who are attentive to their own inner life are slow and exceedingly painful." Pain's not punishment. You know, so often in our lives we think that we must have done something wrong when pain shows up. That's just simply not the truth. It's way more likely that you've set an intention or you have a desire for change, and pain is pushing you toward that manifestation. So much of pain is really birthing pain, which is good and necessary pain. Pain is your invitation to get curious about what this painful situation is pushing you toward or away from. Michael Singer wrote The Untethered Soul, and he said one of the essential requirements for true spiritual growth, one of the essential requirements for true spiritual growth and deep personal transformation is coming to peace with pain. No expansion, no evolution can take place without change, and periods of change are not always comfortable. Change involves challenging what is familiar to us and daring to question our traditional needs for safety, comfort, and control. This is often perceived as a painful experience. The bottom line is pain is worth it, and it is necessary to become more alive. And Howard Thurman says, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. I trust that whatever you are pregnant with is something that makes you come alive. I truly pray that the birth of this magnificent idea calls you forth into a brand new you that is more alive, more abundant, more fulfilled, more loving, more peaceful. For what we create, that is what life is about. I'm going to close with this marvelous quote by Mililani Trask. She's a Native American leader who worked for 7 years with Mother Teresa, and her writings are just beautiful. In her wisdom, she reminds us of this powerful truth. A difficult birth does not make a baby any less beautiful. A difficult birth does not make a baby any less beautiful. So move with me into a moment of prayer. Here is what I know. The creator of all things, the energy of life itself is present in this room. It shows up as each one of us. It shows up as the holy ideas that we are holding in our creative wombs right now. It is with us as we anticipate the arrival of newness in our worlds. It responds to our intentions because it is the law of creation. And what I know is that each idea is a divinely inspired idea in the mind of God coming through as a calling in each and every one of us. Each one is an expression of love. We are an expression of joy and abundance and greater good, and nothing opposes the birth of these life-affirming new ideas. Nothing opposes our evolution and growth. And as each one of us enters a period of necessary pain, I know comfort and courage and strength. And we surround them as a spiritual family. I know resilience and great faith that all is well. All is well. I know God itself is present in each home, in each heart, and in each birthing room, as we are never alone. I give thanks for the love of God, for the love of each other, and for the way we love ourselves enough to birth something new, something beautiful, no matter how painful. I'm so grateful. Affirm with me together. And so it is. I do have a one-sentence affirmation. Join me. I surrender to the divine birthing process, knowing that my greater self is being born.